Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into chapter 63 of Lost by James Patterson. So let's get right into this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. By the time I was off the ship and on the dock, the thin man in the Def Leppard t-shirt was jogging west away from the water. He headed toward the wide open fields, a house of storage containers for gas and oil. This was not the kind of chase people saw in police shows or in the movies. Most criminals aren't in particularly good shape, and most cops avoid running after suspects unless they've committed a serious crime. I kept the man in sight easily enough, but this was not an impressive foot chase. We weren't getting terribly fast, and there were no obstacles or traffic, just a real-life fist fights tend to be messy events. Real-life foot chases generally aren't that exciting either. I could have just let him run. The guy lived on the ship and he'd be easy to find, but secretly I didn't want to disappoint Marie. This was kind of a story I'd have to embellish a few years down the road. Maybe I'd add a parrot sitting on his shoulder. Then the chase got even less interesting. The man started to slow drastically, and by the time I was a dozen yards behind him, he was leaning over with his hands on his knees, gasping for air. Before I could say anything to him, he vomited onto the grass. That made me jump back. I can put up with a lot of unpleasant things. I'd seen more nastiness in a few years working in Miami than most people see in a lifetime, but vomit always made me gag and want to vomit myself. I did a moonwalk away from the man. He was downwind, so I didn't smell it, but the second time he heaved, I almost lost my lunch. Then the man looked up at me and said, in a Dutch accent, "I can't believe you guys figured out what I was doing." I just shrugged. It's my job. I needed someone to see me as superior today. The man started to ramble about how he'd gathered the birds over several months during a trip to the western coast of Africa. He had an agreement with the captain and first mate to split the money. That's how he'd been able to get back and forth to the container so easily. We needed a big payday here in America, he said. I already spoke to the pet store owner in Miami and one in West Palm Beach. Between them, I was going to be able to sell almost my entire shipment. The man sounded wistful and depressed. I let him talk. I hadn't placed him under arrest, and these were voluntary statements, although I kind of wished he'd shut up. A few minutes later, an SUV with two U.S. Customs agents rolled up next to us. I identified myself, explained the situation, and told them about the man's confession. The older agent, a tubby man, about 50, said, "We appreciate getting good cases like this, but why the hell didn't a Miami cop working on an FBI task force call us about these concerns beforehand? I was afraid it was just a wild goose chase, excuse the pun." The younger agent, a woman, said, "More like you didn't want to share the credit for any arrest on human trafficking." Her partner said, "Why didn't you follow protocol? We didn't bother you at your office." I looked over at the scared Dutch sailor and said, "Looks like you don't bother people at your office either." U.S. Customs was not amused. That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.